Hello and welcome to the Unofficial Controller Podcast. And it's me, RGT. And no, I'm not joined by George this week. No, we've given him a week off. You know the pressures of being a CEO, all them strains, after absolutely getting trounced in the Ponzi's. We thought it best, let him just mop his tears up a bit, let him have a week off. So I'm joined by the only man who's here to talk about Switch, the absolute YouTube legend himself, Marathon Gaming, or as we know him, aka Scott. How you doing, Scott?
I'm not too bad. I'm not going to lie. I'm a bit exhausted. Work's been battering me, as we was talking a moment ago off air. However, I'm excited to be talking about games because I have been playing a lot of games. So I'm excited to dive into it. And yes, as you can hear, the gruesome twosome are back.
Yes.
It's me and RGT. And how good was the Ponzi's last week? That was fantastic.
Oh, it's brilliant. I listened back to it today while I was at work, and I was just laughing my head off. And I also had my mate message me. He listened to it as soon as that dropped. He listened to it and went, my God. He said, Scott sounds just, when he was rapping, he sounds just like Mike Skinner from the streets.
I'll take that.
And I was like, oh, he'll love that. I said, he was just doing it off the top of his head. He's good. He is good.
We'll see if we can repeat a bit of that later when we did a shout out later in the show.
If you're new to the show and you hadn't listened to us before, last week we done our show which we call a Ponzi's, which basically is a Ponzi's Awards. We all put our top 10 games we played for the year before, so 2025, and then the wingmen and Seb, they calculate all the scores up from ours, and we have a top 10 of the games we played that year. Now, they're not necessarily releases that year, they're just games we played. They could be from PS2 to Switch 2, could be anything in between. So it's some interesting picks on there, but it's a good fun show because we're all battling for that top spot. But if like what happened, if we all tend to pick the same game, it gives it a little bit of a boost in the rating. So it was good, the Ponzi's last week. Good show, so check it out. Check out the back catalogue. If you never listened before, give us a download. If you download the back catalogue, that gives us a good boost in the algorithm. So yeah, but welcome anyway if you're new. And what we normally start with is what we've been playing. So over to you, Scott, and what have you been playing? And I'm looking forward to this because if you've played a lot of games, I'm looking forward to it because I ain't hardly played any. So I'm looking forward to this one.
Well, I'm quite excited to talk about them. So a couple of different platforms. So I'm going to go in reverse order. It's probably easier. I've made some notes, but it's easier to remember. And some I spent more time than others. So the most briefest, which I did download last night, cost me about, I want to say it was £12 something for the Nintendo eShop. And it was a certain fishing game that a couple of presenters
I wonder what that is.
I've been talking about. Yes, I played Cast and Chill, I believe is the name. I've thrown down fishing game ? But yeah, Cast and Chill. So yeah, it came out just before Christmas, I think, didn't it? In December. But I think it was on. It was. I think it came to PC. I think like middle of summer, like they normally do, a good few months before. But it's done very well on Nintendo eShop. Everyone's getting hold of it, saying how fun it is, and it just is Cast and Chill. And yeah, there's a little shop. I like how it started. You sort of customize your character, choose your dog, and as soon as you start it, it's very tranquil, very relaxing. You get, you fish. So far, I'm just fishing like 3 a day. You go trade up, you get some different bait, catch some bigger fish. I only play it briefly, but I have to say, I can see that being a game that you do get quite stuck into because I came off of quite a intense game.
Yeah,
it was quite nice just to play for a bit. And I'll tell you what that's probably perfect for. If anyone works from home, that is probably a really good lunch break game because it's not too taxing on the brain.
Did you play it handheld or did you play it on the TV or both? Or
I played it on the TV, but I reckon that's probably very good handheld, I would have thought.
It's good on handheld, but what impressed me is because I kept playing it handheld until George said, have you put it on your TV? Well, I play, because I have my Switch 2 on my recording desk here, so I've got a 4K monitor, a smaller one. And I thought, I'm going to try what he said. So I dropped it in the dock, played on the monitor. And for pixel art, honestly, I think this could be the prettiest pixel art game I've ever played. the reflections in the water and like George was saying the other week, and the fishes' reactions and habitats, and this is all pixel art, and it just
Yeah.
it's something about this
Very,
guy, how you
very
cruise out.
arty.
Yeah, it's very arty. It's almost a painting. You're correct. It does look like a pixel art painting, or when someone does those hammer beads that look like a hammer
Yeah,
bead
yeah.
paint. But there's something about that when you get in your boat and that's very quiet. You can hear the wildlife, you can hear the birds, and you just out
Yeah,
your
it
little
is
boat, pull up,
nice.
decide where you're going to pack your dog, and then drop your line over, and yeah, it's brilliant. Then you've got your shop, and like what that'll do is you'll have, say, 3 slots for fish. Once you're filled up with slots of fish, you can go back and sell them. But as you can upgrade the slots, upgrade your boat, upgrade your rod. Have you put any money in the tip jar yet at the shop?
No, I haven't. I heard you
Make sure
enjoyed
you, yeah,
talking about
put
that.
money in a
Yeah,
tip jar. That's all I'll tell you. I want no spoilers, but put money in a tip jar.
yeah.
But
I haven't experimented too far. I need a bigger rod because I every time I try to catch a big fish at the bottom, it snaps.
yeah,
But yeah, I'm looking forward to going on a bit of adventure with it. And the type of game it is, I can imagine it having a lot of DLC because it's one of those
yeah,
games with once you've done everything, if they just dropped like a new location or and a new 5 species of fish and a new rod and a new bait, you'd probably find yourself going back in it for another 5 hours, wouldn't you?
yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's got that. It's one of them games where once you've played it for half an hour, you know everything what to do in the game. Although obviously you'll get new areas, but that's not a down point of the game because it makes you want to play more. You already know what you're doing. That's just now. Let's just find the fish. Let's
Yeah.
find the better locations. Drop DLC on that, and I think people will love that. So yeah, Cast and Chill, great choice there, Scott.
The other game I've played before that, and this is probably the game I've played the most out of this, believe it or not, I've played 5 games this week. And a little bit off of the back of what you've been playing, but I've gone right back to its origins and I've been playing Pixel Remastered of Final Fantasy One. So
Ooh.
I've got the collection physical on the Switch, 1 to 6. They're on everything. You can play on PlayStation. They're on eShop
Mm,
individually. They're very affordable. And I went back to play Dragon Quest, the very first one, a long time ago. I really enjoyed the first one, and then I didn't like the way the second one was set up with a party. But
yeah.
other than playing like Final Fantasy VII, I was thinking I haven't really played any of the predecessors. So I started it up and I've put a lot of time into it and I'm really, really enjoying the simplicity of it. And what's very funny is on the back of the Ponzi's, when Seb was joking about Final Fantasy and saying, I need to check out 7 to find out the lore of the stones and stuff, this literally tells you, like, because obviously it's the game starting. You see it's a bit like Star Wars. The text goes up the screen. It says your fantasy awaits and it talks about the stones and all this. And what's really good of it, as soon as you start it up, you have got a party of 4. You can change it to what you want. So you
Mm,
customize the character names. You can have like a monk. You can have a warrior. You can have I think it's a white mage and a black mage. So one of them would do like magic healers, like to heal your team, like your
mm.
allies, and the other one would be doing attacks. And they are so awesome. But yeah, I keep just if you're not into grinding, then it's probably no good for you. Sometimes it's frustrating when you're going off into the caves, you're trying to get to somewhere you're lost and you keep going in battles. But what is good on the repixelated version is you can walk a bit faster. There's obviously a lot of quick save points and auto save points. And you've also got auto battle, which is quite good, which it sort of remembers what you've done. But you have to be
Mm.
careful because if you flee a battle, the next one it will just flee. And if you use like a lot of MP points on, say, a big spell, if
Mm.
you encounter a weak monster, it will just assume you want to use it again. So it's helpful, but if you use
Yeah,
it, it will abuse you, if you know what I
yeah,
mean.
yeah.
But if anyone has played it, please let me know in the Discord because I've got to a point where I'm stuck. Basically, I've beaten like this first boss, and then I've done like the second one. And basically, the first thing you do is you save a princess, then you return a crown to a king. Then I've beat this like elvish prince or king, something that he was impersonating, and I'm trying to save someone who's basically in the elvish village. They're sleeping, and I've got to retrieve something. But I've been everywhere. I've looked on YouTube, and it's almost like it's a glitch in my game. I've been everywhere, done everything, but I can't find a certain key.
Oh no.
So yeah.
So what number that is you're playing?
It's just the first one, Final Fantasy
First one,
One.
yeah. Yeah.
I'd like to play for all of them. But yeah, so I played quite a bit of that. Really, really did enjoy that. I've literally been on all genres and then a couple of big games on the PS5, and I had to just because of the Ponzi's. I was a bit cheeky with some of my nominations of games I had watched people play or have barely played. So I dived into two big games. One of them was Kingdom Come Deliverance 2.
Hmm.
And I tell you what, it's so much better than the first one. I don't find it as frustrating where it teaches you the moves. Like the first one, I find it holds your hand too much and it's like a false tutorial and you want to get
Mm.
on with it. But this is really good. So you start off like in a battle. I won't give any spoilers away because it's literally like the intro of it. And then, it's the same story from the first one. So you're sort of protecting, you're a royal, you're like protecting a royal king. You're trying to deliver a message. Obviously, on the previous game, you're son of like a blacksmith, and you makes weapons. So he passed away, and that story carries on. Same characters, really good humor, lots of swearing. It's very good storytelling, good cutscenes. But yeah, I've just been really enjoying how it doesn't force a tutorial on you. It does it slowly throughout the hours. So you kind of don't notice.
Mm.
A lot of people, because I talked about it on a YouTube video, a lot of people said, "Oh, is it a bit like Souls like the combat?" Because it is very hard, but you can do a lot without getting in combat. I mean, I was texting George the other day. I said I've done the most George thing on this game ever. I'm just sitting in the taverns playing dice. I'm not even playing it as a an RPG. And then every time I lose money, I go down the corner, I look left and right, and I just I'll rob someone, hide the body, sell their clothes just to play dice a bit more in a tavern. So you can play the game however you want. And I just love that medieval world. And I'm really enjoying it. I know George, I think it was George that said it didn't quite click with him, or it might have been someone else that said that recently. So they weren't too sure that sort of fantasy medieval land. But I really like it. But I seem to have a thing with any games involving horses. I seem to be my bag. I don't know why.
I
Um,
think you'd because obviously I've recently played Final Fantasy Remake, which is obviously the first part of the trilogy of the remake of seven. And then I'm now into Rebirth. But on there in Rebirth, you can play a game called Queen's Blood, and that's in the first. Yeah, you can play it throughout the game, but in the first part, you're in a little town called Calm, and that reminds me of that. I just went round playing matches outside bars and loved
yeah,
it. Absolutely brilliant.
but yeah, I'm really enjoying it. So I'll probably I'm stuck on it again because I'm so terrible at the battling. So I am stuck on something I've got to get past. But yeah, I've probably played a good 8 or 9 hours on it. I will go back to it. And now another game, a huge game, which did very well in our Ponzi's. I think it. Well, I don't want to give it away. Actually, I won't say where it came. But Expedition 33, in case someone hasn't watched last week's show.
Yeah.
So I played Expedition 33 and I hadn't obviously started the game for myself. And I have to say, I'm glad, like I said to my wife later on when she come home, I was like, I'm really glad you wasn't here when I played this. I said the storytelling is so amazing that it was a bit quite emotional when like you're meeting all the characters and you're going off to your expedition, it's explaining what's going to happen. I don't want to give anything away. I want it to be very pure for people. But the intro of that game, they're getting better and better of it. The first time I ever thought, wow, what an intro, was Hogwarts Legacy. Where you're playing
Hmm.
it. And games are doing it now. They're starting. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 did it a bit. You'll play the game, you'll think you're in it. And then after about half an hour, it will show you the sequence. And then it will say like the starting credits. You're like, wow, that's like Cyberpunk done it a bit. But yeah, Expedition 33 does it the best. The story is really good. The battles are very good. I've just stuck on pretty much the first big battle you get to, and I really don't know what to do. So I don't know whether I'm supposed to be grinding on it more, but I can't seem to with this particular enemy. I can't get the timings right, and if I get hit more than once, I die. So I keep restarting the battles. And I played it in handheld as well because I thought I'd get the portal out, see what it's like, and it looks pretty good. So I started it on the big screen, and I went on a portal. So yeah, huge game, but yeah, I'm literally stuck like so early on, like a couple of hours in.
Another thing that
Um,
amazed me about that is that's an indie game.
I
I
know.
mean, that's an indie game. And I mean, you talk about intros. I know I'm going back to Final Fantasy again. If you ever play Final Fantasy Remake, that's the same thing. The intro is movie-esque. It sets the scene. It shows you the setting. It's got
You're right.
the
It's that nuclear power plant bit, wasn't it? I remember.
mm,
Yeah. Cool, that's what it's
superb. Yeah.
like. And right before I pass over to yourself, there is one other game, probably the lesser of them. A bit of a poor man's Harvestella, I call this one. It's a actually it's turn-based JRPG called Blue Reflection 2, I think it
Hmm.
is. It's how can I say it without being too disrespectful? It's more at the cheaper end. It's a bit of a, like a typical Nintendo Japanese anime schoolgirl sort of style. It
Hmm.
plays on the sort of humor and culture of that, but it was a good game in it. The battles are pretty good. The characters, the three girls you have, once you power up their attributes, they turn into like a different persona, and then they get like a different, outfit, different weapons. They become more powerful, more spells. But the only thing I find a bit struggling to it is, like when you play these sort of JRPGs, you have to keep going. Harvestella does this. You have to keep going through the same areas. And every time you go and you get a bit further, and it's a bit frustrating, but eventually you get to a point where you can fast travel.
Mm,
And this game seems to, the fast travel hasn't come soon enough. So I keep doing the
mm,
same things over and over again every time I go into the fantasy world. But yeah, story's okay, music's okay, graphics, it's a very mid game. I'm
mm.
talking 6, 7 out of 10. But there's a friend of mine, Mr. Fed, I watch on YouTube. He loved the game and he loves his RPGs, and he just said, yeah, it's a nice easy one. It's 40 hours to complete. And I thought, you know what, I'll give it a go. But
Mm.
every single one of those games I've mentioned, RGT, I'm stuck on, and it's why I've went on to the next game. So that just shows how much of a bad gamer, and like we always say, those who can't game do a gaming podcast, and that is exactly
Sport
true.
for choice, though, aren't we? It's nice to have that option, isn't it?
Yeah, but I'm really glad to be playing all those games. I think it was the Ponzi's that hyped me up. I was like, right, I need to get involved. But yeah, that's sort of me in a recap the last 7 days. What about yourself, RGT? What have you been playing?
Um, Obviously, Final Fantasy Rebirth.
Yeah,
Um, this is crazy because I was never a Final Fantasy player at all. Um, Never played them back in the day. I've got PS1 ones, I've got the PS2 ones because I always, and I weren't just buying them for shelf fillers. I bought them because I always thought one day I might want to play these, so I'll get them while I can. You never know if they're going to go expensive, so I bought the full collection. Um, but once I got into Final, I'd tried to play Final Fantasy VII Remake about 5 times, but I found it quite complicated. I was never really into JRPGs. The story is absolutely superb, but the combat with the real time and the sort of turn-based elements and the materia and all that just didn't click. I even had my brother-in-law show me once. I just didn't click. But he's a massive Final Fantasy fan. He's even got the Final Fantasy 15 PS4 Slim, which he uses, and the controller, and he's got all the
oh,
steel
nice.
books.
Yeah,
He loves it. He loves it.
yeah,
And I had him showing it to me, and that still didn't click. But what did click? I don't think you're on the show, but what did click is when they done the demo on the Switch 2,
yes. That's
and I
out.
was
Yeah, out at the moment. Yeah,
I was writing the show for our other show, Flashback, and I sat on here. That popped up on my phone, now available. I thought, oh, I've got my Switch next to me. I'll download that. So I downloaded that. Just as I finished writing the show, pinged up, download complete. I thought, oh, I'll have a play of this. Played the demo through, no problems. That all just clicked. All the
yeah,
materia, all the combat, it clicked. And I've played that first bit about 5 times, like I say. And I was like, right, I'm going to pre-order this on the Switch 2. Pre-ordered the Switch 2 copy, and then I suddenly thought, that's sitting right behind me here for the PS4. So then I googled it, and it said, yeah, you get free upgrade to PS5. Right, no, cancel the Switch 2 one. I am gonna put this in. I think if you haven't played it before and you got a Switch 2, I definitely ordered a Switch 2 one because it looks really good, and you got it in handheld, which is brilliant. But yeah, so I downloaded the PS5 one, um, and just couldn't put it down. 35 hours in, got that complete.
wow,
The story is fantastic. It's that, like I was saying when I was talking to OG Tom about it, it's that almost metaphor to our life where the hierarchy are on the top and you live down below in the slums, and they're the ones
yeah.
controlling that you don't get a lot because they want a lot. It's all that sort of Shinra, and it's
And
very good.
think of the year it was written. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
That is crazy storytelling.
Yeah. And so obviously I played that, went into Rebirth, which is obviously your characters again. It gives you a recap from when you start the game for when you finished. But this time it's now open world. Um, you sort of break out the city and you go into this little um, town called Calm, which I have said in the show before, but I will repeat again. One of the best developed towns I've ever seen in a game. You can, especially if you've got your Pulse 3D headset, or if you've got a 3D headset, pop it on. Because as you're turning your character around, there's all chatting, there's market stalls. It's a very lively place. There's bars, there's people playing games. It's a proper, I spent hours just in this town, just doing little side missions, wandering around. Then you go out into the big open world, and I'm about 20 hours into the game now, I suppose. And I've just done, literally, I've just been exploring the map, unlocking these towers, which is very Breath of the Wild. You find these towers, unlock them, unlock the map. Then you can find things to upgrade, which is very Horizon. So that'll give you a little triangle and a line up so you can collect everything, start making your own potions. And it's just so addictive. I'm only on chapter 2 and I'm 20 hours in because
Wow,
I'm
big
just
game.
exploring. I'm just exploring. And when I was in that first open world part, it was a very grassy area, some ruins, and they when you find these ruins as well, I'll just quickly jump in with this. This is what I like, right? A lot of games don't do this and they miss this. You'll find these ruins, like there was an old bridge. I come across this old bridge and it said something like, don't quote me on it, but something like the old ruined bridge, right? And then that'll come up with a little key bit and that says 0 out of 2 treasure chests. So one, there's 2 treasure chests there, and 2, once you've done it, that'll tick that off. So you ain't got to worry you've missed anything. They just give you
That's
little
really
bits.
useful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very well thought out. But when I was in that area, I sort of thought it looks nice for a PS5 game. Yeah, it just looks nice. The grass and that. I thought that's okay. Now I've gone into another area which was like almost sort of like a quarry area with rocks, and I've also led from there into a little fishing village. But this area with rocks is I've put some pictures up on our Unofficial Controller podcast Discord. Um, it looks stunning. The lighting on these rocks and everything reminds me of when they first launched that PS5 demo with Unreal Engine 5, and you saw the lighting on the rocks. It looks like that, and it does look stunning.
Wow.
And you almost forget sometimes you're in Final Fantasy. Apart from the characters, you're now in this massive open world.
You wouldn't expect those sort of graphics. You don't need the game's so good; it doesn't need to. Do you know
No,
what I
but
mean?
they've really gone to town on this,
Yeah,
and because you're in an open world, but it's weird how they've done it. It's a huge map, and you'll do what you can in this map, and then once you've done that and you do the main story mission, it will lead you to another area which is part of that map but within its own map. You can still travel back and do it, but then it's got its own map within that. And the areas you can discover, like there was all these areas up high. I was thinking, how can I get up there? Then I went to see this guy who done these chocobos, and he said, "Oh, can you help me get this chocobo? She's a special rock climbing one called Belle." So then you have to do this side mission where you have to stealth round, creep round, and then tame Belle. And then once you got Belle, she's your chocobo you can ride round on. And then she climbs up walls, so now you can get to all the high areas in the mountains and search all around there. It's very good, very good. It's actually this second part, the combat's still as good as ever. That the combat is some of the best I've ever played. But they've actually, the menu wise, they've almost simplified it. I think they realised from the remake one was a lot going on here. They
yeah.
simplify and make it a bit easier to upgrade and stuff. Which I think anyway. Absolutely brilliant. I just wish I had more hours in the day. It's one of them games where I want to get back and play it, but I've been so busy with work. I want to put more
That's
hours
good.
in.
You've got
But
the passion. Yeah, I can hear the
yeah,
passion. I can see the
yeah.
twinkle in your eye for it. I love the IP myself. Like it's funny. Like even going back to the first one, there is some similarities there. So I wonder if it's something they've done the Pixel remaster, but they've actually on the first one, the on the map it shows you the chests on there as well. It says if you've
Mm,
done them and ticks them off. So that's
mm,
interesting to know. Is that a Final Fantasy thing? And something else
yeah,
I found really odd is that iconic when you win each battle, it goes da 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 da
yeah.
da. That iconic sound that's on the first one. But to me, I like that reminds me of Final Fantasy VII, and I was thinking, oh my god, is that from the very first game and they just kept it up, or they
Well,
added it in?
if you play remake, the funniest thing is that music doesn't appear, but
Mm,
every now and then, no, because it's like real time,
blasphemy.
No,
Oh, of course, yeah, yeah.
but Barrett, every now and then, when you win a battle, goes duh, 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 duh. He does it himself.
Do you know what? It's funny. Speaking of Barrett, there was a that's pretty cool, by the way. Sorry. There was a friend I had at school, and we were playing Final Fantasy VII, and he was. I actually mentioned this guy. It's just such a small world. I feel like I'm having deja vu on my last YouTube video. I remember borrowing it, Final Fantasy VII, off him at school. Anyway, and I think it was the first time I heard the name Barrett, and obviously he's one of the playable characters. And for some reason, I literally the next day, like, what's your chances? I saw him write his full name out, and I was like, "What's your middle name?" And he was Barrett, and I remember being, "Oh my
No,
god!" And I was like, "What a small world!" As I've never heard that
that's
name,
a
and now
sign, isn't it?
I've heard
That
it twice in 2 days, and he's a guy that led me Final Fantasy. But
that's
yeah, I
mad.
mean, what I remember from the game is the very first big boss, which is that spider. That was probably one of the most like a scorpion spider. It's like a scorpion, I think, isn't it? One of the very first
Yeah, sort of
sort of battles
robot.
you have. That's it,
Yeah,
robot scorpion.
yeah.
That's what I always remember. You said you got most of your collection. Now, I love the franchise probably more than I love Zelda or anything like that. Did you? I know you said in case they go up in prices. The ones that really have, I don't know if you've got them. I haven't, certainly haven't. Is Game Boy Advance ones. They're quite expensive and they're out of stock at CEX.
Yeah, I haven't yet, and I sort of looked into them, a bit similar to you, because the handheld ones I hadn't really got. So I looked into them and thought, oh, they're out of stock. And then I started doing a bit of delving into pricing, and then
Yeah.
thought, oh, they're quite collectible because they are really good. Obviously, to have handheld mode, they're a great game to have, and you didn't really have them handheld back in the day, apart from that. So, yeah, absolutely brilliant. And I'd like to get them, but it depends on what sort of
Same.
price they go
Maybe
up
that's what
to.
we can do with our. If we do trade our Xbox in, we were talking off air earlier. Maybe
Mm,
that's what we'll do. We'll get a couple of big hitters of GBA Final Fantasy games.
that would be nice. That would be nice. Not that I don't think Seb would want to play Final Fantasy, although he has
Oh,
joined us here. The young Sebastian here. How are you doing, Seb?
I'm good, guys. I am very good. I didn't mean to interrupt the flow. I
No, you're
didn't
right.
mean to interrupt the flow. But when I saw we were recording today, I was just like, one, I was disappointed. And I'll tell you why. I was disappointed George is not here because George last week talked a lot of mess about Fable. Lot of mess. Had a whole lot of like, oh, I don't think I have all my reservations. I'm not really sure if they can nail it and everything. Have you heard the scuttlebutt about this game?
Mm,
Everyone's talking about how good it looks.
mm.
Did y'all see it, by the way?
Yeah, I did, and there's also I noticed there's a lot of the big Witcher fans are jumping on this because they said that's got very similar
Woo!
oh
vibes to
yeah,
the Witcher there,
yeah,
and
Yeah.
I think they're bang on. I'm excited for this game. I really am. I love the other Fables. Yeah, I'm up for it. I've been fingers crossed ever since I announced this. Please be good. I think we could have a good one here. Could have a good run. You know, it could make a bit of bank for Xbox. Well, on the PS5 anyway, but it could be a bit of bank for them because I think this is, yeah, this is up my street. This game.
Yeah, and I was also that, and I was also excited to ask, like we were talking last week about like the video games that we were excited about, and then ever since then, trailer after trailer after trailer's been dropping, and
yeah.
I'm like, man, it's such an exciting time if you're especially on the AAA side of the fence of
Mm,
like these big bombastic blockbuster video games. Today, Crimson Desert just put out a mega like a introduction trailer walking through who their main character is and like the actual game that the gameplay mechanics around like the actual campaign. And I'm like, oh, this looks like it could be a
mm.
contender as well. Um, Zelda looks like not Zelda, but of course not Zelda, but um, what was it? Fable looks like a contender. And then I was just like, I was so excited, and then they announced the direct for next week for Nintendo side of the fence, and then today they released what Tamagotchi in life
Mm,
and everything like that direct, and
mm.
I'm like everyone's eating good right now is what it feels like,
I
guys.
think
How
I
do y'all
think
feel about gaming?
I think a lot of people are getting wind that GTA is going to be delayed again, and I
I
think
think
Me,
you're right. They're
they're
pushing the
now
button and
hitting
bringing things. Yeah,
they're now hitting these
yeah,
trailers saying, right, we got
yeah.
this coming out this year, we got this coming out this year, and I think it'll do us good. I think if GTA's postponed to 27, I think we're going to be rather spoilt in 26. I think we're going to be I think we're going to be eating out well.
I think it's the opposite, man. I think like so I was looking at some of the like trends for Grand Theft Auto and for Red Dead Redemption, especially Red Dead Redemption 2. Delayed 1 full year, and then like they put that next date on it. Then they delay it again, and then it hits that final date. It's almost like it's following that same trend as GTA 5
Mm.
and Red Dead Redemption 2. It's almost like they have a marketing plan for it. And I
Yeah.
think everyone else is like, oh, they feel confident that even if GTA doesn't come out, or if it gets delayed, or if it does come out, we can nail those dates around that nebulous. I think
Mm.
like from what we've seen of the last like 2 years, the fall doesn't feel like the big release date anymore for video games. Like last year, what was the big game for y'all in the fall?
What do we have
Was.
in the fall? Ball X Pit, was that in the fall?
Ball Pit, but
It
yeah, that's an
was.
indie game though. I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
wasn't,
Well,
it
yeah.
wasn't like it just took over the world as far as like, oh, this is going to just like capitalize and basically be the top leading seller in all the world.
Mm.
Like it's not like it's going
Well,
to
it
do
was
like Call of
probably.
Duty numbers.
I think it was Hades on the Switch that came out September. I think, didn't it? On the
Indie again,
Switch. I
no,
know
isn't
it.
it?
Oh yeah, I
Yeah,
suppose.
but
Yeah.
you have different expectations for those. I'm like for Ballix Pit and Hades, if they do $3 million, like 3 million worth of sales, that's a huge success story.
Mm.
Like for a game like a AAA game, you have different qualifiers. It's
Mm.
like when people were hearing the report that came out like 2 or 3 weeks ago that Atlas saw soft numbers with Metaphor
Mm.
Metaphor Refantasio, and it barely has scratched like 1 million sales. I'm like, oh, that's concerning for an Atlas studio.
Mm.
That's concerning for a team that put out Persona. Whereas like Ballix Pit, that's a sensational number. You know what I mean? It's like
Mm.
different parameters for that. So I'm like, what was the big fall game for y'all last year?
I don't. I'm trying to think. I don't think I had one. I don't think I
No, I
bought
was
a
going to
triple
say
A game
mine
in the fall.
probably. Yeah, mine probably was Hades too. Because I remember
Mm.
holding
Or
out for it.
Pokemon
So I
for you,
remember.
right?
Yeah, I feel like. Do you know what? Actually, Kirby Air Riders and Hades, I think, released within a week of each other. And I think Pokemon Legends, I'm pretty sure that was more end of summer. So it kind of, it was, yeah, those were probably the three big ones for me between summer and
Mm.
autumn last year.
Yeah, triple A wise, I don't think I bought anything in the
Yeah.
fall. Not at all.
That's kind of my point here, though. It's like
Mm.
it's been a wide open area. It's like
Hmm.
it hasn't growing up, and especially like within the 2010s, and maybe like the 2000s. Fall was that big time when all the games were releasing. This year, the Outer Worlds released. Pokemon ZA was October, is what the lookup just said. It's like that was October. Kirby Air Riders. What was the Keeper was another one that Xbox put out. Ghost of Yotei came out. I'm like some games did come out in the fall, but like would you consider those like A tier games?
So Seb, are you sort of implying the fact that you think all the studios possibly knew GTA was going to be delayed? Because if they knew it was coming this spring, then they probably all would have released their games last like fall, autumn, like you say, because they would want to get that window, get that few months of buying. Is that what you're sort of implying? Are you
What
saying
I'm
everyone sort of expected it to get delayed? They had more time.
what I'm saying is like I think last year they were also like if you remember correctly, very gun shy about like announcing release dates at the beginning of the year because that noose was hanging around their necks. It's like this year it's a very similar thing, except like I've this year like the trends of video game releases are different now to where like they're not worried about the fall. Like they're like, hey, we'll put our games out.
Okay, yeah.
We've seen Resident Evil have success in the like spring summertime. That's their window now. Like you see like Capcom releases games spring and summertime versus the fall. You see like Xbox still does the traditional thing, but is that working for them, guys? I'm like, let's be honest. Nintendo, they're still doing a hybrid between like the traditional thing, but they're also rolling out games all year round. It's not like they're waiting for the fall to release their biggest
Yeah.
games of the year anymore,
I'm wondering if it's Black Friday is so commercialized now. I feel like Black Friday's kind of ruined the Christmas build up because it seems like it's just one big sale. Whereas, like you say, you used to have those big games come out and you'd either bought them or you waited for Mumsy to buy it for you. And that was a big selling point from its release up until probably Christmas. But yeah, you're right. It's probably just a change.
On that
I
note, though,
guess,
the Black
yeah.
Friday thing, Black Friday's power isn't what it used to be. Like this year,
Well, it's not one
this
day
year,
anymore. It's so
yeah,
prolonged. It really is.
this
It
year,
might as well be a black season. It's not Friday. So
exactly. Exactly. So I'm like, if there's no traditional Black Friday anymore, like that also sort of muddies the waters there. I'm like, there's no if Black Friday is all of November, at that point, it's
Mm.
basically November sales month. A company is going to look at that and be like, well, why would we release a game when everyone's expecting discounts during that game anyways,
mm,
It's
Mm.
like so, I don't think Call of Duty. I don't. I was about to say Call of Duty. I don't think um Grand Theft Auto's date really impacts anything for a lot of studios this year. I don't think whenever Nintendo's going to do, they have their own market. Like Nintendo's probably going to put a mainline Pokemon game. Do you really think GTA sales or a GTA is going to really impact
Oh no, I
Pokemon?
don't.
if, if
Nintendo are completely separate. They do their own thing. They
Yeah, for
release
different
what they
sure.
audience,
want. Their
yeah.
fans are their own fans, and even if their stuff is completely different anyway, even if you're not a hardcore Nintendo fan, the likelihood is if you're a gamer, you've probably got a Switch or a Switch 2 sitting around anyway. So you just sort of, I always see it as that they're sort of off the main line. They just do their own
Yeah.
thing. They're not worried. I think more for dev studios, especially, I think a lot of them will watch
Oh,
where
yeah.
Rockstar
Where
is coming out,
GTA?
where
Yeah.
GTA is coming out, because especially with people's disposable income is shrinking. If you're releasing in the same month as GTA and gamers have got a matter of choice, it's going to be GTA 6. So either do it before or after. Just keep out of that because that
Yeah.
is going to be big.
I don't think people want to do it after, but like, especially like, let's say it's November, and I think December is a shot month after that point. So I'm like,
Mm.
but what I'm saying is the whole rest of the year is wide open now, and like, Resident Evil has seen like tremendous sales, Monster Hunter's seen tremendous sales. You have like all these other tentpole franchises now are they're doing gangbusters throughout the year,
Mm.
whereas like November. I mean, Outer Worlds they just had a story about that last week, how soft the sales are for the Outer Worlds too. You
Mm.
know, you mentioned yourself that you didn't feel compelled to play Ghost of Yotei. That's a lot of us, like a lot of people didn't. So I'm curious though. I'm like, what is? I didn't mean to hijack the podcast, but I was just like, what is the hype levels for y'all for the rest of the year like as far as video games go? That's what I was bubbling up to talk to y'all about. I was like, oh, the guys.
Well, it reminds me of when you wouldn't think it was a few years ago now, we were all sitting in the same position talking about 2023 and how spoiled we were in 2023. It feels like that again.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to 007. I'm really looking forward to
Mm.
Fable, um, GTA 6 if it comes out. Crimson Desert looks fantastic.
Oh, it looks
And
sensational.
there's so many of these games. And then, like you say, the last few days, I get home from work, I pop my YouTube on, and on my feed, I just got these popping up, new trailer this, new trailer that, and I go, oh, that looks good, this looks good, that looks good. I'm thinking we're getting absolutely spoiled here. So it could be after a bit of a dry year. I won't say a drought because I always said that was quite a drought, like 25. But actually, when I went back to look through,
Wow. Really?
yeah, for me, I
Okay.
I didn't think it was. I thought it was an okay year for what I would buy. But actually, when I went back and done my list for the Ponzi's for you, Seb, I actually thought I didn't do too bad, really, did I? I played.
No.
There's a lot of games there I really enjoyed playing. Yes, some of them a few years old, but the newer ones I played, Mafia Old Country and Story of Seasons, things like that. They were all really good. Already enjoyed them. So yeah, it weren't as bad as I thought. But I think this year could be a good year.
I
Um, I,
noticed I noticed something with you, with the list you submitted. Like a lot of the lists that you submitted weren't $70 games. Like,
Mm.
how crazy is that? Like, a lot of the
Yeah,
best games of the year are below the threshold of the MSRP that most consider like
yeah,
the AAA standard. That is absolutely insane how much bang for the buck we're getting, especially like with like
yeah,
triple I, as I like to call it, triple indie
yeah.
titles.
Well, I think as well. I think if you look at it, they made that price jump from sort of 60, 55, 60 up to 70. And I think that heightened people's expectations. And now people are doubling down a bit, thinking, I don't know if I want to spend 70 because quite a few of the games that come out were meh. And people are like, I'm not spending 70 on a medium game. So when you get companies dropping games like Mafia the Old Country, I paid 35 for that.
Yeah, it's sweet. That's a
And
sweet.
yes, it was 15, 20 hours long, but it was a great game. Really good graphics, great storyline. That's where I want to be roundabout. You know what I mean? Now, if you're paying double that for a game, it better be good. And I don't think people trust it. I think people are now looking at getting them second-hand market or trade-ins. See what the game does first, and then I'll pay, say, 50 trade-in for it. Because, yeah, I think that's actually been a bit of a, they've actually backfired on them a bit. I mean, when you get Nintendo games at 80, you're like,
Goodness.
you know,
That feels
it's
so wrong.
Mm, it's a tough pill to swallow. I mean, I can't remember what I paid for Hades 2, but it was nowhere near that, and it
I
was
think like top MSRP for Hades 2 is $30. So I'm
yeah,
like,
Yeah.
I think it's what
yeah.
I paid 28, 30 bucks, and it was absolutely fantastic. One of the best games of the year, if not the best, and you think that's how you can do it. You can make good games for less. They don't all have to be completely packed with ray tracing. It's took you 10 years and $200 million to make. You can make good games for a lot less, you know.
That's it. The indies are affordable, and it is purely because obviously less studio, less overheads, less staff. So
Mm,
their profit margins can be very similar, yet they will be a lower price to us, meaning we're more likely to take a punt on it because you don't mind spending 20, 30 quid. I mean, what a big game last year that I don't think come up on the Ponzi's was, I think, Silk Song. I think that was,
Hollow
again, a
Knight
very,
Silksong, yeah.
yeah, that was a
$28.
cheap. Yeah, that is I mean, let's be honest. That's a triple A game, really, but it's an indie game and it's a
mm.
blooming well
Claire
affordable game.
Obscure,
So
same again.
yeah,
Yeah, it was Silksong was on my list by the way, but it was yeah, that was one of the games to where I'm like I looked at so many games that I played this year, The Altars, Hollow Knight Silksong, Dispatch, Hades 2, Mafia the Old Country. You look at like all those games are below 50 or 50 pounds or dollars,
Mm,
like all those and a lot of those besides Mafia the Old Country, no shade to it, but like a lot of everyone's game of the year list, when you look at the whole industry, had a lot of those games on it. And
mm.
then you might throw in like a Decaf Bonanza here or there, or you throw in a what's the other one that was heavily touted? Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Also below $70. Like
Yeah.
Kingdom Come KD2 is an independent studio, but some like there's I think what we see is value from last year is like really going to mess the consumer up this year because I'm like a lot of these games this year that people want to play are triple A games. It's the $70 titles right at the
Mm.
jump. They have to deliver now. I'm
Well,
like,
I think they're even saying GTA 600.
man, oof. If any game could maybe get away with it, it might be that one, but
that's the one. Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
still a tough pill for a lot of people to
that
swallow.
is, but it's Take Two in charge, and that wouldn't surprise me because them guys like the bank, and if they can
They
get
do.
100, they will get 100. You know what I mean? I think they're even on about what was a game I saw the other day? We're releasing this massive collector's edition. I can't remember what game it was. And it's the same again. It's a bit like the Red Dead Redemption 2 one. It's like nearly $300, but there's no game with it, not even a digital code. You're paying $300 for a collector's edition. You ain't even got any games, and then you've got to pay another $40 or $50 to get the game on top. You're like, what?
What
Do you know what
exactly
I
are
mean?
you collecting at that point?
Exactly. It just amazes me, some of these companies, and I honestly do think, like I said before, I think when they made this jump to $70 a game in a cost of living crisis, which is across the world as well, it's such the wrong time to do it because you've swayed people as to what they want to play, and indie studios have proved, like I say, you don't need that big budget, and they've jumped in with these great games for half that price, and you're thinking, they might have shot themselves in the foot, a lot of these big studios and game companies, because, the $70 is a tough pill to swallow at the moment.
It really is, and I think like the value bang for your buck is like consumers are looking at that more than ever. It's really interesting too, because like the games that a lot of people are saying they want to look forward to, there's some question marks behind it. Crimson Desert comes. I'm looking forward to that game, but I can't deny like a lot of people are saying maybe it's too ambitious for its own good. Maybe it should narrow down its focus instead of letting you do like
Mm,
Zelda meets Zelda and Tears of the Kingdom also meets like all these other inspirations, and like from Assassin's Creed to everything in between. It's like it's overly ambitious. I mean, a lot of people look forward to the IP that IO is working with 007, but a lot of people have those question marks. The showcases hasn't quite wowed the internet as a large. Some of people are talking about like the frame rate's a little choppy, the stealth doesn't look great, but like
mm,
the bombastic action sequences don't quite like they kind of feel like they're from a bygone era. So there's some question marks about like that game as well. Lego Batman is the Arkham DNA going to actually transfer well to the Lego thing? It's a Lego like DNA. Is that going to are they trying to appeal to two separate audiences? And if one of those audiences is going to be marginalized, like there's question marks. GTA, will it come out? Will it live up to the hype? Are people going to be satisfied after 13 years of waiting? Like
mm,
is that story is that story and the humor still there with Fable? George said it last week, like, are they going to nail the direction of Fable, the original vision that people loved Fable for? Like, is the humor going to hit? Like, and how is Fable still going to feel like classically the IP that people love and also like a modern video game because those games were made three generations ago at this point.
mm,
Like
yeah.
there's some question marks about like so many of the AAA games in this space, and it's after last year where like the top of the line, as far as like the game awards goes, four of the top six games were indie games
Mm.
below $30. How's that going to reset the market as far as like what's value in video games now? Like what's the consumer going to do? I think like GTA is a lock, but I can see any one of these games flopping, and that might be the last game that the studio puts out this year,
Mm. I think,
except for Playground.
yeah,
Playground's safe. They put out Forza as well.
I think the devs had a false conception of what we wanted at the start of this generation. I think they thought we wanted massive, big storylines, ray tracing, 120 FPS, all has to be in one massive package. But because of that, these games are going to go up in price because we've got thousands of people in the studios making a game for 5, 6 years. And because of, like I say, the cost of living, I think these indie studios have shown you don't need ray tracing, you don't need all this stuff to make a good game. You can make I mean, Hades 2, for instance, gorgeous looking game that runs at 120 FPS on my Switch 2. Plays stunning, great storyline, great sound, but it didn't need thousands of people working on doing all this ray tracing lighting. You can make great games for that. Ball X Pit, I mean, superb game. It didn't need all that extra. So you can make good games without all that. And
Yeah.
I think if some of these studios, I mean, I know Ubisoft used to publish these rather than make them, but Ubisoft used to always tick along with these good little games in the background, like Song of the Deep and games like that, like an indie developer that they'd publish for. And these were great little games that were cheap. And you think if some of these studios still had, all right, still make your big game, make your big release every 5, 6 years, but in the background, have these smaller studios under your wing who are churning out these good little indie, almost indie titles that are cheap and decent price and people are enjoying them, even if they're shorter games. They can do those rather than concentrating all on the big sales. And I think that'd be great to go back to those again. I think anyway.
I think that's where Nintendo's been thriving this last couple of generations to where like
Mm,
they make games that really and truthfully based on like their art style like they're no different than indie games at this point. It's just
mm,
they have the Nintendo mantra behind it.
mm,
Like
Yeah.
if uh, put it like this: if Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, if and Zelda Breath of the Wild, if that was another 3D model placed in that same exact world and it didn't have the title Zelda on it, would you wouldn't you if like Nintendo didn't put their stamp of approval on that, you can easily see an indie studio making that game. You know,
Mm,
like based on like the visuals and everything like that. There's nothing there that says like, oh, I couldn't see a studio for 20 million or below making that type of game. You know what I
mm,
mean?
mm,
Like it's not I'm not saying like that game is I'm not trying to marginalize what Nintendo did with that game. A lot of people consider it a masterpiece, but what like with their art style and the way they deliver those titles, it's
mm.
like we're now seeing indie studios deliver similar value and similar like output and similar like art styles and directions to where like there's a game right now called Little Gator Game. It plays very similar to Breath of the Wild as far as that goes, but it's like a narrower focused vision. And the game's no bigger than like 10 hours long, but like for
Less than that, I
all
think.
yeah, for sure. I think it
Mm.
is like 6 hours long. I think I was giving it a little too much credit, but like that is that is a game like that. If Nintendo put their stamp on it, they would think it was a mainline Nintendo game.
Yeah.
And so I'm like value and perception of like what's AAA and what's like a $70 title feels like it's sort of like crazily constructed and construed very weirdly right now.
Yeah,
You know what I
you're
mean? It's
so
like
right. I mean, Nintendo's always been that gen behind as well. Well,
yeah,
recently, it isn't hurting their sales. Their games are still doing gangbusters, and that's
except
another
for
little hint.
Metroid.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
Metroid's always been that funny, like
Yeah,
that.
for sure.
Um, but and you just think, you think the other big companies would look across thinking, do we need to be spending 250 million on this with this ray tracing? Because we're now going to get outsold by a game on hardware that we didn't use on the
Mhm.
last gen. Do you know what I mean? And you're thinking,
So,
but
it's all smoke and mirrors, baby.
yeah, if you make a good game, you make a good game. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? People sometimes, if you really love a game, you'll ignore us little four boys and there's little mistakes they've made because you enjoy that game so much. So yeah, I know what you mean. It's going to be an interesting year.
Cat.
I'm hoping with all these indies that have done so well in 25, it's give a bit of a boot up the bum to these big AAA developers thinking, well, hold on, you know,
We gotta bring it. We gotta
we've got to
bring
bring
it.
it
Yeah.
because even if you look at Claire Expedition, I mean, it looks good, it plays well, it's got a great story. You know, they didn't spend 500 or 250 million making this game. Do you know what I mean? It was a small studio that grew a bit, and they come out with something like that where bigger studios have had three times the budget and not made anything as good as that. And you just think, hmm, it's time to wake up and yeah, try and see what they can do. Within the price limits. Put it that
Yeah,
way.
for sure. Scott, I have a question for you. It's like and since you're the Nintendo guy, you're the Nintendo expert on here on the panel, I want to ask like what what Nintendo game and or a realistic game could they put out this year that could basically be in the mix for game of the year this year that you think?
I'm not too sure, to be honest, because obviously, all jokes aside, obviously, I love the Nintendo Switch, but I love it
Yeah, for
more
sure.
from its hardware perspective. So I love playing games on the Switch. But if you look at what I play the most of, they don't tend to be the big. I'm not massive on the Marios and Zeldas. Obviously, I play them all, but I prefer I play a lot of the indie games and the other games on there. It's just my console of choice because it's a hybrid.
Yeah.
It works well for me at home. So to be honest with you, I couldn't say for sure what I think is going to be their game to carry them this year because I mean last year I would have obviously we knew Donkey Kong Bonanza was going to be big, but I would have put all my eggs in a basket. If you asked me this last year, I would have said Kirby Air Riders, and I was very disappointed. So to be honest with you, it's not necessarily that straightforward. I don't always get the same hype with everything. Obviously, there's a lot of hype at the moment about this new Mario movie we had the last couple of weeks, the Galaxy trailer, but that's not something that's making me jump out of bed in the morning, if you know what I mean. So
It almost
yeah, I'm
seems like
probably
you play a lot of the spin-off games more so than the mainline games.
I
You put
do, yeah.
Pokemon ZA and Kirby Air Riders versus Kirby in the Forgotten Lands, you know?
Yeah, I prefer Kirby to actual Mario. That's for sure. And we was talking about earlier. I said I prefer Sony's Final Fantasy over actual Zelda. To be honest, if I had to choose them as a franchise, that is for sure. So yeah, I love the console, but it's not necessarily all of their. I will always play all the Nintendo games because it's it's a lot of nostalgia with it. I always will play them and enjoy them. There's been some great games like how good Mario Odyssey was. Wow, that was amazing to take you back to that place and play that again. But yeah, I don't go too crazy for all their releases, but of course I
Mm.
check them out.
RGT, like, so with this year being a blockbuster year with GTA coming out with GTA with Fable with like a lot of these Crimson Desert and such like that, like a lot of these games are taking up a lot of space right now. Does Square Enix look at this year and go like, hey, even if we have Final Fantasy part like 7 part 3 ready, do
Hmm.
we hold that game off till next year where there's a little less there's a little more oxygen in that like year versus this year?
Um, I
Because
think
they did have soft sales for like I think Rebirth that they didn't like, right? It was that the big
yeah,
story?
I think that was. I don't know why that was either. That was. I was reading that the other day that they were quite disappointed with the sales. I mean, obviously we'd probably look at the sales and go, "Well, no, they've done well," but no, that weren't what they were expecting. But um, I think it's so crucial more than ever now. With financial markets as they are, you need to release that bang on the right time. I think they need to release that part three when no other RPGs with a good history are coming out. I think you need to be that RPG or JRPG in that era at that time. So you're releasing and people think, oh, I fancy JRPG. What's just come out? Oh, part three's out. I'll get that. If you've got five or six others that are all around in the same couple of months, you suddenly you're watering it down a bit, and are you going to get the sale? So it's a tricky one. It surprised me with Rebirth because I'm sort of deep into that at the moment and just
Yeah, for sure.
absolutely loving it. Fantastic game. And I the thing I find with Rebirth, I don't think it was marketed very well. I don't think it was marketed as well as it should have been. I know sometimes they like to keep things under wraps till a game's released, but this is quite different to part one. You're now open world, but it's got tropes of great games in there. I mean, you have to find the towers to unlock the map, which is very, like I was saying earlier on to Scott, which is very Breath of the Wild. And then you've got the way you craft and you find things is very Horizon Zero Dawn. It's got a real big whiff of Horizon Zero Dawn about it. But I never knew that beforehand. They give you a bit of the story, but they don't give you the bit of the gameplay. And I just sometimes think if you market that well, I think you'd probably pull over a lot of Horizon fans, maybe even Zelda fans, that think, oh, actually, we love open world games. This might be up our street, sort of thing. But I wasn't even aware that was that sort of style of game. So yeah, it'll be interesting. I did see today. I think they've pulled Final Fantasy VII off Steam today.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, which I don't know what is the reason behind that, or whether that's going to be an announcement for the part three or what. I don't know, but I knew they'd pulled it off, and a lot of people are annoyed because I think that's jacked all the mods off as well that people had done. So I'm not
Yeah.
quite sure. I think it's destroyed that a bit, but yeah, it'll be interesting. I think they need to find that window where that style of game, that genre of game, in that few month window, if you're going to play it, that's going to be Final Fantasy Part Three. Because yeah, if sales have been soft on remake, your fan base is diluted down a bit to who's then going to buy Part Three. So yeah, yeah, be interesting.
It's
The
also a hard investment though, like it's like I know the game's good. Like you and a ton of other people have told me the game's good, but like I know it's a hour and like hours of investment that I have to give it because I have to also play the first game, to actually
Yeah, I
jump
mean the
into
first
there.
game
That's
is a
60
very
hours.
reasonable. Yeah, well, the first game I done in 35 hours. First game,
Okay, gotcha,
and I
gotcha.
done loads of side missions. That's quite a nice. This one I was saying to Scott earlier. I'm just in chapter two, and I'm 20 hours deep in it. I've only done like three or four main missions
Yeah.
because the world's so big. It's got side missions as well, but there's so much to explore in this game. It's so well made. But yeah, I think this is going to be a 100-hour game. I think
Oh
so.
yeah,
It's
a lot of people said time to beat is between 80 to 120 hours.
Yeah,
as far as like
Wow.
completionists as well.
yeah. So yeah, you got to put the time in it, and I keep thinking. I mean, I do a lot of big game every now and then, but I'm now starting to think, are 100-hour games the way to go nowadays? Because
It depends.
I played Remake, which was 35, and I thought that was bang on. That was bang on. I mean, I put over 100 hours in Horizon. I put over 100 hours in Harvestella. I put over 100 hours in Breath of the Wild. Same with Tears of the Kingdom. But
No one can say
do
you have commitment issues.
but do gamers want that now? Because that's especially in a year when there's going to be a lot of games coming out. Do you want to be pulled aside for 100 hours on a game that could take, depend on your work, could take you weeks to do when you've got other things coming out? That's a tricky one nowadays. I think the day of the 100-hour RPG is dying a bit. I think
Yeah.
35 to 50 is about where it sits. I think for an
Especially
RPG.
after Claire came out. Claire came out, and that's a mean little like maybe 20. I was just like, I think I beat that like with before 20 hours elapsed. So I'm like, it is a very condensed package that
Mm,
also like hits above like the value wise. It's like because I feel like even though Claire is so much smaller, not even a third of the size of what you were describing with Rebirth, it's like I feel like I got so much out of that because the story, the voice acting, and all that
yeah.
still hit so hard, you know?
Exactly. If it had been a rushed ending and you'd have come out of that
Yeah.
game thinking, "Oh man, they've cut this too short. They needed a bit more time in the oven with this," but they didn't because everything was paced perfectly. I found out with I know it's a different thing, but Mafia: The Old Country, it
Hmm.
was 15, 20 hours. I mean, if you played them sort of games before, you probably do it in 15 hours, but it didn't overstay its welcome. I thought it was perfectly paced. It was a nice little story set in turn of the 20th century. It was perfect. I thought it was brilliant, and it didn't. The story had played out. There was nothing. You didn't feel like you were being cut short. It was how it was meant to be, and I didn't feel underwhelmed by playing the game that short. I think it fitted well.
So, how would you feel cheated or robbed if Marvel's Wolverine came out this year and it is close to 10 to 20 hours?
Um, I think 10 hours would be a bit. You'd be a
A
bit.
bit short.
Oof.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. But I think 20 to 50 hours, I think people prefer. I've got a friend, Mike, and he
Mhm.
will not start a game unless it's under 30 hours. It always makes me laugh. And when there's a game that's 10 hours, he's really proud. He goes, "Oh, that was a really good game. It only took me 10 hours, it only took me 15." I know what it means because I like the satisfaction of completion. And I do appreciate, you know, a good game that's a big game, but is only, 20, 30 hours. I really do appreciate those ones. Red Dead
Mm,
Redemption was probably that. And I was fine with it. I didn't need it to go on any longer.
mm.
It's enough time to enjoy it. But yeah, you get indie games that are really short and you still get enjoyment out of them. It depends on the game, doesn't it? I mean, Firewatch was only 4 hours and I love that.
Brilliant game. Yeah. Yeah.
But
Absolutely brilliant.
then,
Little Gator game, that was the same. That was short and
yeah,
short and sweet.
Yeah.
Spider-Man Miles Morales is why I bring this up because
Yeah.
that was an 8 to 12 hour experience, like, but a
Yeah.
lot of
I
people
think. I
said
think
they
I.
actually love that.
Yeah, I platinumed that in like 15 hours for
Oh,
platinum.
yeah, for
That's
sure.
You
that's the
know,
other thing. Platinum culture, I think, will change the culture of the length of games because people are really obsessed. I know you talked about it previously, yourself and George. You're saying people like these, trophy hunting,
mm,
and so the shorter the game, the more appeal it is. If you're on the fence between two games and you're hunting for platinums, if one of them's 20 hours, the other's 50, you're probably going to choose a 20, aren't you?
yeah, and some of these games as well, though. I mean, that amazed me when you look at time to beat and for the completionist and stuff. You'll get like 70 hours on an RPG, and then it says for platinum or for your 1000G, it's like 120, and you're like, wow, it's nearly doubled to try and do everything to get. So you've got to be dedicated to want that platinum on those big
Yeah.
games, definitely.
So this is a philosophical kind of like preference question here, but like let's say you're the consumer and Sony asks you just a straightforward question. Hey, we're gonna do whatever you tell us based on this specific the way you answer this question. They ask each one of you. So like, hey, I we can come out with one for every studio that we have. We for one IP and we can come out with a bombastic 30 to 60 hour game. Let's say it could be like Gorilla Horizon, with Sony Santa Monica God of War, or you can pick the studio, you can pick the IP, or you can pick Uncharted, God of War per studio, and like, would you prefer one bombastic entry per generation, or would you prefer three smaller Uncharted, Lost Legacy slash Miles Morales size games that they would put out per generation? So, like, for instance, would you prefer Sony Santa Monica to put out one solid, like solid to amazing God of War game in the PS5 generation, or would you have preferred them to put out three smaller experiences that may still all be God of War, but they're all Uncharted Lost Legacy size?
I'd
Probably the
have to go.
smaller.
Yeah, I'd go with the smaller games.
Smaller?
Because I think one, it gives you that excitement because you play that game for 15 hours, maybe 20 hours. You love that, and you think, oh, we've got the next one on the way. Can't wait. When you're getting one game every gen, 6, 7, 8 years, you play it for 40, 50 hours. That's brilliant. You think, oh God, wonder when the next one's coming along. I don't. I know people that find it an insult to play a game for 15 hours. I don't, because, you know, like I remember someone telling me, "Oh, Last of Us 2 is a rip off because you can do it in 25 hours." Yeah, you could if you really blast through it, but if you play the game properly, it's about 40 hours. Um, that story's that intense. That game is that intense. If you made it 100 hours, you'd be pulling your hair out. It's the perfect length for what that game is, you know. So you can make really good stories that fit into a lesser, hours, less hours. I think Miles Morales, for instance, platinum in 15 hours, but I didn't come away from that thinking, oh, well, that was short, that was rubbish. I just thought it was paced to that time really well. I thought it was a really good game. It fitted well, give us that stopgap till Spider-Man 2, which is obviously a bit longer, about double that time. But yeah, I didn't find it that bad at all. So yeah, I think I would prefer playing throughout a year. I'd prefer playing some really good 15 to 20 hour games, 4 or 5 of them in a year, just rather than 100-hour game. Definitely.
What about you, Scott? Same?
Yeah, definitely, mate. I'll be exactly the same because it's games are. It's a bit like a book, isn't it? And like a movie, you got that. You enjoy the start, you enjoy the middle when you're in it, and you enjoy the closure at the end of it. So the more of those experiences, the better. I'd rather
Yeah.
have a few mini of them than have one big experience like that because it is really fun when you finish a game and you go on to the next one. It G's you up, you get excited, you get that weird emotion. When a game finishes, you almost get a little bit sad in a way because it's over, but then you're excited because you get to go on to other things. It's a really hard thing
Yeah.
to explain, but you know the feeling. You look at the credits and you're like, damn, that got me in the feels. It's an emotional roller coaster. A bit like the start of Expedition 33. You're like, oh, here we go. We're off on an adventure. So it's good to get closure of games and then get in and enjoy the next one. It's all part of the journey.
Let me ask then. Let me flip that question on its head because I like the way this is going. So would you say that you'd rather have the Netflix model of like I just immediately give me smaller experiences, like y'all were describing just now, rather than like the HBO model to where like we're only going to put out a season maybe every 2 or 3 years, and it makes you look forward to it. Like there's a the reason why I asked is because like I think there's a hard expectation and like from Sony, for instance, from like the Xbox model versus the PlayStation model, bringing this back to video games. And I've been pondering this, and the reason why I asked is because I've been pondering this. Is PlayStation not only succeeding more so than Xbox because of the way that they put out quality, but also because each of their games feel like spectacles. Like each of their games, like a God of War, for instance, feels bigger than a Outer Worlds 2, and then Outer Worlds, than like a Gears of War. Like they feel like, hey, stop what you're doing, shit's going down. Like
Yeah.
they feel like that moment. Like for instance, would you prefer a GTA? Um, would you prefer a GTA every 2 or 3 years, or would you prefer to go?
Well, that's a
Well,
good question.
Or
That
would
is a
you
good
prefer this
question.
once in a generation, or maybe once in a one generation point five of this? Oh my goodness, this now feels like it is the biggest game of all time moment.
Mm.
I
I
think
think,
me, I
yeah,
think,
go on, RGT.
I think with GTA, I mean, it's its own entity, but also I think the only reason we didn't get a GTA sooner was because they were just absolutely milking the online. You know, for that game to be released on 3 generations is incredible. But I think that's more the take two side. I think we would have had a GTA sooner if it wasn't for that. I would like to see, this is mixing it up a bit of the old Rockstar. So you get your big game every 10 years, you get your big GTA game, but you have side games, Vice
Your little
City
mini
stories,
ones.
Liberty City
Mm.
stories, Chinatown
Smuggler's
Wars,
Run.
15 hours, 20
Table
hours
tennis.
that are spin off of that GTA series, but you're still getting the games coming through. That's what I'd like. You have your big blockbuster. I mean, don't get me wrong, there is still a place for a 100-hour game, but the problem is before you get to the next 100-hour game, you need palette cleansers, which is what,
I like that, RGT. That's a good
what
shout.
what we're talking about now, really. But I think, yeah, if
You could
Rockstar
almost
could,
argue the palette cleanser was Red Dead, though. If we're taking that, like the Red Dead's games, like
yeah, but then again, Red Dead 2, I mean, I put over
Too
100
big.
hours in that. It's a
Yeah.
whopper. That's a whopper.
Red
I mean,
Dead
that's
is
a
a
big
big
palate
one.
cleanser.
yeah, it
Um,
Yeah.
is.
And I
but
needed a
then,
palate cleanser between the Red Dead games. Well, I went in
Yeah,
from Red Dead straight into Red Dead 2 and I was not
oh,
ready.
no, not ready, no. But I think also you got to remember the IPs that they don't use anymore. You know, your Max Payne, your Bully, you know,
Bully,
Oh, Max Payne was so good
Midnight
and
Club.
Bully. Yeah.
Midnight Club. There's some great IPs in there that they don't use anymore, and you just think, oh, wouldn't that be
Mm.
great to have? I mean, there was always rumours of Bully 2, and that's supposed to be Jimmy Hopkins in
Yeah.
college and the rest. And I mean, I've played that game 5, 6 times, loved that game on PS2, and then I played it again on PS4 and platinumed it. Bully's a great game, and you just think,
Yeah. We had 3 or 4 Max Paynes, but you're right. It was only one Bully. They could definitely do another.
yeah, there was talk of it for years and years and years, and they never did. Then it was supposed to be a remaster, and then there was going to be a remake, but it's never
Oh, that
come
would
to
come on.
fruition.
That would come on a Switch soon. And hey, Seb, you mentioned Dispatch earlier. That's coming to
Yeah.
Switch too. Just announced.
Oh man, it's already got controversy behind it. The Switch 2 version. It's like
Mm.
Wow.
the oh, so like a lot of people have already gotten hands on with it, and Nintendo's heavily censoring the game as far as like what Dispatch is, as far as like the game that we got on the PC and the PlayStation version is different. Imagine like the Disney Channel version of Dispatch.
Well, Seb, do you know what? Leave it with me. I'll make some calls. I'll make sure I bring the Nintendo fans the real Indie King version of Dispatch. I'll get it sorted.
I've got
Yeah, it's
I've got a good
it's
question for
crazy.
you for this year,
Okay.
Seb. I want to know what you're predicting to be the indie hits in 26. For what you know what's coming out, what would you
Oh,
say
okay.
to the listeners? What do you think is going to be? What's going to be
Ooh.
the Expedition 33? What's going to be the Hades 2? What's going to be the Ball X Pit this year?
So the great things about those, besides Hades 2, is like they're surprise games. Like
Mm.
they took everyone by surprise and no one kind of seen them coming. They kind of like the word of mouth sort of just spread like wildfire about those games. So that's like one of the organically good things about those indie titles. The indie titles that we do know about though, that you would be like, okay, these are probably like the indies to look out for based on what we know right now.
Right, I've got my
There's
pen ready.
So
Let's
have
go.
I.
I'm going to write these down.
okay. So there's one
Notepad.
that I'm gonna start from January. All right. So off the top of the dome, January. There's one that's already out right now. If you are a fan of Hollow Knight Silk Song and you like Metrovania games, there's one called Mio. Mio Memories in Orbit, I believe. So let me see if I can pull up that. So imagine like Hollow Knight, but you're playing as a little robot. The little robot's in like this sort of like techie type of environment, and you're going through a Metrovania trying to find out the mysteries of what happened to not only you but some of the companions that like were in an adventure with you previous to the game starting. From my understanding, this game isn't a sequel, but it has kind of like a mystery element to it, but it also feels like it is
Sounds
um
like hot. there was a Horace super rare game. That sounds exactly like that.
It's
Hmm.
kind of is. Let me see. I'm going to hit you up right now. Let's see. All right, you should begin requesting your screen just right now. Let me know when you see it. All
Yep.
right, so
Got that.
you got it right now. So this is the trailer for since we're posting a lot of these on video now. Why not have video
Oh,
representation?
yes, I have seen this trailer.
Yeah.
There's a lot
So
of good
this is
things being spoken about this.
yeah, so this is a game that has come out like within the last week or so. Right now it's probably the highest rated new entry of this year, which is, not saying much. It's only been 3 weeks, but 3 or 4 weeks. But like this is a Metroidvania game that is very tried and true to Metroidvania roots, but with a heavy like art style that kind of reminds me a little bit of the cell shadiness of like Borderlands meets like Inside,
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
it's almost
Inside
watercolor,
it,
hand
yeah.
painted watercolor. Looks gorgeous.
Yeah,
I
so
literally thought Limbo, Inside, Little Nightmares. I was thinking all of those from that zoomed
Mm.
out screen. Yeah.
yeah, so I'm like, it kind of reminds me of like, and this is like, you'll actually start to see the gameplay here, where it's like, it sort of reminds me of the platforming of Ori and the Will of the Wisp, but with like
Mm.
Yes.
some of
Yeah.
the combat elements of Hollow Knight and some of the gameplay elements as far as like the map goes of like other games that you probably known and love, like Ultros and different things like that. It feels organically indie, but it also feels like it is one of those titles that feels like it had like a solid budget behind it in a weird way. So I'm like, I've played probably like 6 hours of this so far. I think this game is absolutely gorgeous. I'm not the hugest Metroidvania person, so I'm playing it. I'm like playing this game despite it being a Metroidvania, if that makes sense.
Mm.
So I'm like, I like the way it looks. I like the way it feels. Focus Entertainment, of course, has been publishing a lot of cool games like this. So if you're in the mood for like a indie Metroidvania that kind of like scratches a little bit of the itch of the Hollow Knight with a little bit of that puzzle element of like of a Planet of Lana and Inside with a little bit of like that, I would say that get lost in the sauceness of like Silk Song, then this is an easy recommendation.
Mm. Mm. Yeah, it does look fantastic, and
It
like I say,
looks
I've
really
heard a lot
good.
of good things.
I just struggle with Metroidvanias. I really do. I do
I
struggle with them
understand
a little
that.
bit.
Yeah, you have to be into the genre when you have to keep backtracking after a while. I mean,
Mm.
I think the game I found the biggest struggle with that is the Metroid Primes, especially the early ones. The backtracking in first
Mhm.
person, that was quite a struggle. But I prefer them in the 2D sort of plane if they are doing a
Yeah.
Metroidvania. But
Yeah, that's one of them that, I wanted to start in January because that's actually releasing like now, but like
Mm.
um there's
What's
a
one
couple
for
of
the
them.
future? Yeah, give us another big one.
Yeah, there's a couple of them that I think are solidly juicy that are releasing right now. Little Gator Game Part 2 is coming out.
Yeah.
Like,
oh
yeah.
wow,
So, yeah, Little Gator Game in the
Because
Dark is
I
what
was
it's called.
confused by that because I saw so obviously physical
Hmm.
over in the UK we had a super rare game release and then I think it went limited run in North America which sort of changed the prices for collectors and then it came back up on the eShop. So a friend of mine has been playing it recently with his kids and then I see just this week I think it's coming up as another physical release in the UK and they're saying like a gold edition or something like that. So they must be boosting it, getting ready. They're doing like almost like a bestseller, platinum, greatest hits
mm,
version of it. So I didn't know there's a second one.
Yeah, so
Interesting.
Little Gator Game in the Dark. It's sort of like it brings all. Have you played Little Gator Game yet,
I've
RGT?
played it. I completed it. That is amazing. Yeah.
It is fun. What about you, RGT?
I'd started it and I didn't go back to it, but I can see where how good it is. You'd make me want to play it again.
So, so that's a game that's coming out in February. I believe it's around like somewhere in the teens. I would say like probably 11th, 12th, or 13th of February. Romeo is a Dead Man is one that is a game that's coming out in February 11th, and it is one of the most weirdest odd games that you can probably it's hard for me to describe, but it is I feel like this is going to be a cult classic this year, if that makes sense.
Oh, wow.
So
Yeah. The
Romeo is
art looks.
Yeah, so Romeo's a Dead Man. You've probably seen this on some of the showcases right now, but like, so it is a weird game that sort of has that what is that game that a lot of people were saying No More Heroes type of vibe to it. Like
Yeah, comic book style.
yeah, comic book style, that sort of thing. Let me see if I can pull up the gameplay here for y'all. So it is a game that reminds me of like that classic like PS3 to Xbox 360
Yeah, it's got
style
that
of
aesthetic,
games.
isn't it?
Yeah, to where like it is that almost like a hack and slash where the enemies are around
Mm.
you, but it mixes in some of the modernness of like the parry systems that we're kind of growing accustomed to, but like with the art style and with like the sensationalism of a Devil May Cry or like a or what is that other one that or No More Heroes, those type of games. So I'm like, yeah, it sort of feels
Looks
like
crazy. It looks like a crazy sort of PS3 version of anime.
it really does, doesn't it?
Yeah, very
Was it
So
intriguing.
There was something, I don't know if it's called Lucky Number Seven or something. There was some sort of first person game on like a
I remember
shooter
that.
or
Yeah.
killers or something, and it had like a comic art book style. I think it was on the GameCube, and it's the way the hit points. I know for the audio listeners can't see, but those hit points are coming up like you're seeing the actual
Mm,
figures, the numbers on the screen, like they do with a lot of over the top sort of Japanese hack and slashers.
mm.
And it's really cool, really, really cool, mate. I
It's got
really
a
It
bit
like
of
the look
makes
of
everything.
that.
It's got mechs, got everything in here. Yeah.
Yeah, and look at the platforms. PS3, PS5, it's kind of going to be Xbox and Steam all day one. So I think this has the chance to be like the first major like indie domino this year. To
Yeah, I
where
It's
think
like,
cyber.
sometimes you need something unique, and this is
yeah,
very unique. Do you know what I
God,
mean? And a lot of
yeah.
people love them sort of more weirder games. So yeah, I think you're right. I can see this doing well.
It's cyberpunk looking as well, isn't it? With the color
Yes,
palette
looks.
and just the skins of the main character looks very cyberpunk.
it does. It has like a cyberpunk meets a Capcom art style though.
Mm,
Like the way Capcom does the Resident Evil type of
yeah.
games, but like mixed
That is
in
a
with
cool
like
one, Seb. Thanks for
yeah.
sharing that. That is amazing.
Yeah, I'm kind of excited for it. It was
Mm.
one of those games to where I haven't got hands on with it yet, but a lot of people, whether it be like at conventions that I've been met that people through conventions and all that kind of stuff have been telling me about. Oh, I've gotten hands on with this game. You need to check it out. Early build of this game looks really impressive. Looks like the best 7 or 8 out of 10 you're probably gonna play this year. And I'm like, sign me up if it's. But like a lot of people are saying like this probably isn't going to be a 10 out of 10, but it's going to be the most stylized 8 out of 10 game
Mm.
you'll play this year.
Yeah.
Like, and I think that's a solid marker. That one's coming out. What was that? Oh, yeah, February 11th. So like Little Gator Game and this game come out just days apart from each other. So another one that is, I
Sorry,
think, a
Seb. Just sorry to interrupt. Just can
yeah,
you
go
just
ahead.
say the name just for myself and the listeners? Can you just give us the name of that game again? Just
Oh
in
yeah,
case it's
Romeo is a Dead man.
Romeo's a Dead Man. Thank you very
So
much.
Romeo's a Dead Man that's coming out for all PS5 or the PlayStation family, Xbox family, and and PC family. So
Nice.
Mm.
so those are all solid. The next one that I wanted to bring up is one of the games that I think is going to be like basically one of the most unique stylized games of the year, if that makes sense. And and that's crazy because we just talked about one of the most stylistically weird games, in Romeo
Mm.
Must Die. But like this one is, I got to say, stylistically in a old fashioned way, and I love that. It is called Mouse PI for Hire. Have
Oh
you?
yes, yeah. This is
Mhm.
like the original Mickey Mouse, black and white,
Yes,
first-person shooter. Yeah, this looks gorgeous. Absolutely
like
gorgeous. This
Steamboat
game.
Willie style.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
or Steamboat Mickey style. Like it is. So, Scott, have you seen this game yet?
No, I mean, when you said Steamboat Willie, I know what to expect. Almost a bit like Bendy the Ink Man or whatever that was called, Bendy the
Yeah,
Machine.
yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
so completely black and white. Is you play as a PI mouse, and in this world that you're living in, this game is very much rated M. It's almost like a
that looks
Doom.
well good.
Yeah, it
Look
looks
at it.
Yeah,
fantastic,
Wow.
doesn't it? I love especially as your PI as well. So you're solving mysteries while first person shooting. Looks brilliant.
yeah. So it has like a Doom like first person shooter quality to it, but in a noir black and white,
Yeah,
almost like a retro Steamboat Mickey style art style, and it's like it feels like the most unique game
it
that you
does.
could possibly
Really does.
imagine, doesn't it?
Looks
It's
Right,
fantastic.
I would pre-order that now. That looks
it it looks so
very
fun,
good.
and so I haven't talked to anybody who's gotten hands on with this one, but like from what I'm seeing as far as like the demands for like like the PC demands, this one looks like it is not going to be as demanding as Cuphead, coincidentally. So I'm
Mm,
like, it feels like it'll be pretty much playable on all platforms. I think this game will run beautifully on the Switch 2 and the Steam Deck. Like
mm,
this feels like a solid, cool handheld. But like me personally, I want to get this into my theater room upstairs and just like have that whole
oh,
ambiance and
brilliant.
blast it. Yeah, I think it'll be
Projector,
In the
absolutely.
yeah.
dark, playing it in the dark, be
Yeah, exactly.
fantastic. Yeah,
Sound of
Exactly. So
flickering, yeah. Sound of a flickering film.
yeah, so
brilliant.
I'm like, I might actually do that now that you mentioned that, Scott. I might put it because I have a projector upstairs as well. So I have a TV
Mm.
and I have a projector screen that goes like it comes down above like right in front of my TV screen.
Mm.
So I might actually do that on the old school
Oh, it'd be
projector, and
brilliant.
I'm like, that would be pretty cool.
Yeah, that would be
Um,
brilliant.
so yeah, Mouse PI for Hire. That one's like March 19th, 2026. I think that one's really cool, really sensational looking. I think the game though, that a lot of people are probably going to be like, I want to play this next game and I want to play it because it kind of reminds me of an old franchise game, is like this next one I'm going to talk about. Like it is called Screamer. Have y'all heard of it?
Don't think so. No, don't think I've heard of
Yeah,
this.
y'all have the wrong person, man, because I'm talking about indie games and y'all know I can talk about some damn indies. So it is. I'm sorry, I'm talking too much, but like,
No, you're
yes,
fine. No.
Screamer is a anime game that is taking all of the games that a lot of people grew up with and putting those in a blender and combining those into a sick arcade racer game. So it's taking Need for Speed Most Wanted. It's taking Burnout Paradise. It's taking like what is that game? Jet Moto, and combining all those,
I want
adding an
this.
anime and adding an anime aesthetic, and it's just like, and they're like saying, hey, Forza Horizon is the closest thing you're getting to like a actual arcade sim in the racing space. We're gonna give you a story that's made
Oh,
by an anime studio, a real anime studio, and this is actually the gameplay, y'all. So it is very much a racing game, and everybody has these like arcadey meets like anime like art styles. Imagine if Hi-Fi Rush was like an F1 game,
yeah.
everybody that's listening. And this is kind
There's
of what
a
Screamer
yeah.
is.
There's a lot of people in the Discord, including RGT, that's going to absolutely love this game.
Yeah, I'll be all over. I love a racing game, but I don't. There's never enough of them that have a really good, almost RPG like story to it. So
Yeah.
Do you
it
know what it
feels.
reminds me of? Do you remember Driven? There was it was a film, and it was also a GameCube game. It was
Mm,
like an arcade
Oh
F1.
yeah.
It was actually decent. Do you know what I
mm.
mean? Like a bit tongue in cheek, but it had a story around it,
Oh,
like you
if you got
say, which
that
is quite
story,
hard for a
yeah,
racer.
yeah.
This is some of the gameplay. By the way, it's combining like a almost. I would probably say this is. I said F1. It's probably closer to like Tokyo Drift if you're listening, of
Mm,
like the Need for Speed like things. It kind of reminds me of like Speed Racer type of vehicles in a
mm.
way, to where like the vehicles sort of look more
It's
almost
like
like Japan.
drag cars.
Yeah, almost like
Yeah, for sure.
cyberpunk sort of cars, aren't they? With the
Yeah.
neons and the.
Yeah. So what do y'all think about the look of this game?
Oh, this is out of the ones you've shown. Apart from the mouse PI for hire, I'm all over this. I want this game. I want this
Two
game.
out of three.
Yeah.
Yeah, what about you, Scott? This is gonna be a banger for you as well?
Yeah. I think out of the three, Magnum PI, that's definitely. I mean, they're all very good games individually, but this is very cool. I mean, racer isn't my favorite genre,
It's not
um,
mine at
but
all either. Yeah.
I do play them. But if you're like I say, I'm quite excited for RGT and a few of the lads in the Discord, because I know like Badabinkster loves it. There's a few people that really love their racers, and it would just be nice for someone to have a fresh one, you know,
Yeah,
something
I haven't
new
played one
coming
for a
along.
while. The last one I played was the last Need for Speed they done. I can't even remember what it was called, and I was so disappointed.
Well, same. I've gone back and played Hot Pursuit. I've gone back and played Burnout Paradise. I haven't actually grabbed a new game in probably 5 years.
So
Honestly,
this
I'm not
one kind of
exaggerating.
so the last Need for Speed game kind of had a similar
Oh,
vibe to it, to where they had like
Unbound. Yeah,
yeah,
Unbound.
Unbound kind of had like a similar vibe to it, to where they kind of had like these almost like these anime like
Yeah.
aesthetics and
Mm,
after effects that happened, but
yeah.
it still kind of like mirrored a little bit of like real world graphics, but with like a almost like a filter on it. So
Yeah.
it kind of was like borderlining both of those things. And
Yeah.
it it was a cool idea. It didn't sell as well as
Just the
they
story
wanted.
let it down, and the
Oh
gameplay I
Well,
yeah.
thought was very mid.
Yeah.
do you know how to make this game a bit of me? Is if you slapped a couple of guns on them cars, that'd be a bit of me.
Twisted Metal style.
I love Armageddon, Twisted Metal, Full Auto. Any game with driving game that involves a couple of guns on a
I got
bonnet.
one for you.
Go for it.
Have you got a PSP, Scott?
I saw today you put in your RGT's Hidden Gems. There is, that's a 360 game, wasn't it? What are you going to
360 and
say? Go on.
PS3 Blood Drive you're thinking of. But
Yeah,
if
yeah,
you're on the
but
PSP, if you got a PSP, you can pick this
I
game up
have.
for about £2, fired up. Get the game fired up as vehicular combat. That is,
Right down
you get
right
that
now.
in CEX for literally a couple of bucks. But yeah, that's a
Fiver.
good game. Fired up. That's what you want. Sorry,
So for
Seb, we went off on one there.
no, you're good. I derailed the whole show, so my bad. But no, this is like Screamer is also like a indie studio that is, or is this indie game is going to be having it has like a full anime style storyline to it, and I'm like, I'm so excited about that. That one looks absolutely cool. It looks pretty sick. This one's coming to a PlayStation, Xbox, and PC day one in March as well, March 16th. And then the last one that I'll give you, because I know we're running a little long, is what I think like is probably going to be the most anticipated indie of the year, and it's Slay the Spire 2. And it's not
Mm,
even close. Slay
mm.
the Spire 1 is a cult classic. It's one of those games to where like if you like roguelike games and you like turn-based games, if you haven't played Slay the Spire, you've done yourself a disservice. The second one's coming out, and I think that one's going to be absolutely sensational. Coincidentally, Slay the Spire and Moonlighter 2, I think, are like Moonlighter 2 is also coming out of early access around that same exact date. So
Wow.
those, yeah. So I'm like, it is a stellar year for like indies in that first go around. But yeah, I've been talking a lot. You want to get to the our great patrons?
Yes, we'll get onto our list now. But yeah, thanks for that, Seb. That was brilliant.
Yeah,
It's
really
brilliant
enjoyed
listing all
that.
those indies down because they're definitely going on my wish list there. Especially Screamer. I want that
Mm.
game now. When did you say that was out, Seb?
Oh, that's out in March 16th. So I think
Yeah, the
March.
others were
Oh
February.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, so I only did like the first couple of months because there's like there I only did that first couple of months, that first quarter, because that second quarter it gets meaty, it gets really meaty, but it gets sweaty in a different type of way. But like
yeah. Once we get
yeah,
to
so
March time, we can get your recommendations for the next 2 or 3 months and
oh
go
yeah,
from
for
there.
sure.
Brilliant,
For sure.
absolutely
So
brilliant.
one thing I wanted to pitch out for you listeners though, if you want a lot of these games, I'll be getting codes for, I'll be getting reviews for. If you want to hear, not only hear about all these games, but actually see how all these games stack up. If you go to the singleplayerexperience.com, we have this new thing on the website. It's called the Indie Power Rankings. So this year, I'll be ranking these games. And as these reviews come out, you'll be able to see what's top dog every single month for from 1 to 10 and all the way throughout the rest of the year for the best indie games of the year. So if you want to see how Screamer ranks up against Slay the Spire 2, against Mouse PI for Hire, just I'll have that link I'll send out to the Discord and you can see the rankings in real time.
That's awesome. We'll get we're still working in progress on little bits of our website,
Ooh,
unofficialcontrollerpodcast.com. We'll get our link set up for single player on there. So there'll be a little icon, single player, and then you can click on that, go straight over to Seb's site. Very well worth it. It's absolutely fantastic. There isn't anything this guy doesn't know about indies. So I mean,
it's a lot.
we're all gamers here, we play a lot, and he's just knocked out 3 out of them 5 I don't even know about. So the guy knows his stuff. So if you want to get into indie games, he's the man. So yeah, we'll put that on the website. Get some links in so you can jump straight across to his website and his show and bits and pieces, his pod. But that brings us on to our amazing subscribers. As we say every week, and you'll probably get bored of saying it, these people help us do things like the website. They help us do things like the extra shows and bits and pieces. If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be able to do half this. So we always read them out at the end as part of one of their little perks, which start from $3 all the way up to $10. If you look on the description of our shows, you'll see on there what the tiers and bits and pieces are. But thank you to all these. And I will start this with our first one, which is Captain Scarlet. This guy does a lot behind the scenes, absolutely fantastic, from websites to artwork to bits and pieces. So thank you for everything, Captain. And I know I tell you that in every message you send me, but I do mean it. Absolutely brilliant all for all what you do. Do you want to go next, Scott?
Yeah, and this next one is Retro Ed UK. And to say thank you to Ed, I'm just going to throw a little something that people probably don't know, and this might be helpful for anyone who's listening. Ed actually has a second YouTube channel called Special Spectrum. And what it does, it's basically aids families, gives you a bit of support and tips, and shares a bit of advice for parents with disabled and less able children. So they could be autistic, have special needs, certain requirements, certain challenges. And he's got a channel, and they're really short, quick, sort of 5-minute videos. And they obviously don't appeal to everyone, but there might be someone listening to this, who's a parent and has these sort of challenges and would like someone to talk to or share some advice. There's legal advice, tips and tricks for like going on holiday and how to deal with everyday life and just navigating and making things as easy as possible. So I just thought I'd give it a little shout there. So thank you to Retro Ed. And yeah, if that does apply to anyone, then check out Special Spectrum on YouTube.
Absolutely brilliant. Yeah, thanks for that, Scott. And also I will just say, Retro Ed, are you still going to Bristol? Because I am all booked up and I am going. You going?
He is going, mate. Yeah, we're both going. All the hotels booked. We're in,
Same
mate.
here. Hotels booked. Early bird tickets. I'll be going. So
nice
there should be a good meet-up. So if we'll speak about this off air. But yeah, if anyone else is going, Bristol Games Expo, February 28th. A few of us will be there. Scott's going to be there. I'm going to be there. Yep. Retro Ed. I think Digital Monkery. I think there's a few others going from Discord. But yeah, come and join us. It's going to be a good weekend. So yeah. Hotel, few beverages, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Who we got next then, Seb?
All right, here we go. Give me 1 second. Scott, can you handle this real quick? I'm pulling it up.
Yeah, sure. So next up, we've got the one band, 1G fan club. The YouTube short artist, the sexy assassin himself. It's Carlos.
Oh, thank you, Carlos. Next up, we have
Firm's Returns.
Yeah, Firm Returns. Seb's on that one. So I'll go straight on to thank you, Firm Returns, by the way, as well. Another big Switch man there, Seb, so don't worry. Next up, we have the wonderful Trestles in New York. Thank you, as always, for your support and long-term support, I might add.
And then we have got he is friends with Elon and the aliens. He loves a Sunday dinner, straight out of 1850s church. Can you guess it? It's Roast Space Monk. See what I did there?
Very
I like that.
Indeed.
I like that. So next up, we have sending out a huge thank you to Mr. Bada Binkster.
And again, Bada Binkster, he's such a big help. I've been updating all my hidden gems this week. I know I've been saying I'm going to be doing it for months, but I'm nearly there now. And a few of them I didn't have artwork for. He does custom box arts for them. I hadn't even asked him. Before I'd even asked him, suddenly ping, 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 the messages come through. There's the box arts for the missing ones, mate. And I'm like, brilliant, thank you. So it's legends like that we appreciate so much in this Discord. Next up, we have the wonderful Tingle Tuner, which surprised me this week. I thought I was the oldest guy in the Discord. Turns out I'm not. But the worrying thing is he looks 10 years younger than me, so I'm doing something wrong in my life.
He looks damn good.
He does look damn good. But yes, thank you, Tingle Tuner.
Next up, we've got the movie set collector, the challenge accepted moderator. He's also, I believe, a female body parts inspector. It's Digital Monkery.
He certainly is, yeah. Yeah, he's now got, if you didn't know, if you're not in our Discord, he's just done any movie game tie-in, which was on the Sega Mega Drive. He's now got the full set. So well done on that. He's been trying that for a few years. So yeah, complete set of those. So yeah.
Yeah, he's on
fantastic.
he's gone on to SNES now, I believe.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So you better get your wallet out, Mr. Monkery.
Yeah. Especially if you get an MCIB.
That's funny.
Yeah, who we got next in Seb?
And next up we got Ball the Border.
Yeah, thank you, mate. Absolutely brilliant. Then we have one of them goddamn Winchester boys. It is the sheriff of the Discord. The man who you want anything done and in programmed is the guy to do it. If he isn't there, you get his second sheriff, which is DM to do it. But these guys run the Discord. They do a fantastic job, constantly coming up with new ideas. And that is Boba. Thank you very much, as always, Boba.
Next up, we have this comes with a special alert each week because he gets that many platinum. So this is my Ginger's platinum alarm. That doesn't sound very optimistic, but I'll think of a better noise for next time. Basically, Ginge this week has managed to platinum Power Rangers Rita's Rewind. So he got another one in the bag. That man is an absolute machine.
What's he on now? 700 and...
He's gone past. I think they're to try and invent new numbers because that's how many he's done.
I know he's quite high in the rankings in the UK. I said if he gets to 1,000 platinums, we need a massive meetup party. 1,000 plat party is what we need.
Great shout.
Yeah,
Bouncy Castle, baby all. I'll be there.
I weren't thinking of that, but now you said it, I'm all in.
Meet him. Get it done before Bristol, Ginger. We'll pick you up from Nottingham.
Who was next? That was you, wasn't it, Scott?
So over that was me. Yeah. All right, so now we have. What is it? Is that Boba?
No, it's the Prince.
Oh, is that Ginge? The lovely Ginge?
We're done. Just done.
One more down.
Oh, Harvey Retro.
Yeah, and Harvey this week done another one of his great videos on YouTube where he goes through. It won't mean nothing to Seb, but we used to have a catalogue over here called Argos back in the 80s, 90s. So he goes through the PDFs on the old catalogues and the nostalgia wave, seeing all the old things, and he'll highlight what he would have liked back in the day, from personal organisers to a record player. Absolutely brilliant. So yeah, check that out on Elematic. I think he's Elematic Rewind. I think on YouTube. So over to me then. Next up, we have the wonderful Emma Sharp. Thank you as always, Emma. Another one who's becoming a long-term supporter. And I know you love the show, so yes, thank you as always.
Thank you to Emma, best female gamer in the world. Next up, we have he's the Where's Waldo of the UCP. It's probably all I should say. It's nowhere near Berlin. Greg?
Thank you, Greg. Yeah, still probably busy with Forever Skies as always, I expect. Bless him. What have we got next then, Seb?
All right, so we have Mumsy.
You sound very English when you do that.
Oh, yeah, he does, doesn't he? I'm nailing it.
Yeah, you do sound English.
Spent too much time with us, that is. Yeah.
Upper class English, but you do sound English. It's fell on me. Look, the RGT fan club. Thank you as always. Really appreciate that. Another ones that have been long term. So yeah, cheers. Thank you very much.
Well, I've done the maths, so I'm happy to take this next one because it means I avoid what's the inevitable is. So what we got? This man will bury you 6 foot deep in an open casket. It's beat Brocklehurst.
You don't want to mess with Pete. It's the quiet one in the background. These are the ones you ought to worry about.
And now we're sending out a thank you to Billy Marmite.
Thank you, Billy. Which leaves me with the one, the only, and I'm gonna do. Do you know what?
Deep in the gullet. You got to bring it out.
I was actually going to do a normal one, but now you're all wanting me to do one, aren't you? So
hell no, you can't do a normal one. You got to put some respect on this man's name.
Right, here we go then. Here we go. Come on then, here we go.
The hat's backwards already.
I'm going to do a...
Take the glasses off, they'll steam up.
No, because I can't see the microphone if I do that. And I mean the real microphone. Don't clip that, anyone. I can see a short coming up here. Yes.
Oh, it's not short.
You're putting me off now. Right. thank you to Zen.
Oh, I
Love it.
tell you what, test that spit guard on that microphone for chlamydia.
Yeah, I'm
Oh
gonna.
my chlamydia! Oh
Thank you. Get the wet wipes, Mrs. RGT. But yes, thank you to
no!
all our subscribers as
Yeah,
always.
thanks,
Absolutely
guys.
brilliant. It's like I say, boring, I know, but really does make a difference. Makes a lot of change to us and what we can do. So thank you very much. Which leads us on to our last part of the show then, guys, and it's going to be what you hoping to play. So let's start with Seb. What you hoping to play, Seb?
I'm gonna finish out Mio. At least like see how that game comes along, and hopefully see where that lands on the power rankings. I'm also going to be playing a little bit of a game called Blade Song. A little bit of that. That is a game where basically you are constructing. It's a sword making game. It's a sword making simulator basically, and so
Okay.
you're in the Middle Ages and you're trying to like pound that sword in and make the coolest sword ever and see how your customers and clientele like really connect with the different types of swords that you make. And then
Oh,
I'm going to
brilliant.
be playing a new I would probably say expansion slash spin-off like of a game that was probably one of my favorite indies from a couple of years ago. It is Cult of the Lamb Woolhaven. They've come out with more Cult of the
Yeah,
Lamb.
yeah, they have.
Mm,
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm like Cult of the Lamb, one of my favorite games of all time. It's like as far as like indies go, it's not the best indie ever, but it's like it's such a unique and really cool premise. So I'm like I like that. But Woolhaven allows you to basically take what we loved in about the first game, and then they kind of throw in kind of um a whole new kind of like jam there with the winter months and the new like followers that you're able to get. So I'm like, if you like roguelikes that kind of like hit above and beyond, and you also kind of like meshing that with like Animal Crossing, but also with like building a cult, try out Cult of the Lamb. I think you'd actually like
Yeah,
it. Scott, what are
definitely.
you hoping to play?
Yeah, I echo that. I think Cult of the Lambs is up there in my top five roguelikes of all time. I think
Whoa.
probably is up there. Up with Shipper Falls, up with Hades,
Wow.
Binding of
wow.
Isaac, Brotato. They're all up there. Anyway, got me excited there with that little
Cult of the
explanation.
Lamb is out now.
I will probably I'll probably be the same as my intro. So I'm going to go back to Final Fantasy because all of these games I'm stuck on. So I'm going to return to all of them, but I'll probably go straight into Final Fantasy. I'm going to play a bit more of Cast and Chill because I've already played that briefly. I need to work out how to get past the battle I'm stuck on, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. And for the love of God, I'm going to have to speak to anyone who's got further than me in Expedition 33 and find out if I might have to YouTube it. Do I need to grind because I'm just stuck? So the
Where
only
you
game I
at?
probably won't. Oh, it's too embarrassing to say on air, so I'll tell you off air very early on.
Okay.
But yeah, and then Blue Reflection 2, I'll probably won't rush back to that because the others are big games, and I've got four big games on the go at the minute, so that's enough. And
Mm.
really excited to jump in there. What about yourself, RGT?
Um, Definitely more Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. We'll also on our Gen 7 playthrough on our Discord. We are playing Sleeping Dogs at the moment, and we are now, as of recording this, we are now at mission 20. So hopefully next week we will be doing the final 10 missions. We had some new people join Discord this week. I sent them
Well, we
links in.
did, yeah.
Yeah, I said to them three who joined, I said, look, if you want to join in, just play up to where you want to play. But yeah, if you want to play Sleeping Dogs, don't matter what you play on. I know we say Gen 7, but because they're Gen 7 games, but you can play 360 PS3, play the definitive edition on Xbox One or PS4, play on Steam or Steam Deck, wherever you want to play it on, just join in. So yeah, I'll be playing more Sleeping Dogs, hopefully getting up to spec. I've got a hidden gem, which I was going to do this week, but I've got to hold off because George gets very stroppy. He stamps his feet, cries, and goes and sits in the corner for an hour if I do a hidden gem when he's not on the show. So it's a hidden gem. I've got to play a bit more of that, but I've nearly finished writing that for next week. That's probably about all what I'll be playing in the coming days. I will just say a bit of housekeeping. If you fancy, when you hear all us talking about the Discord, if you fancy joining, jump on. We have links in show notes and bits and pieces. More the merrier. Very friendly little community there. From challenge accepted that Digital Monkery does each month for a high score, to our Gen 7 playthroughs, to just people if you want to upload some screenshots, or show us what you're playing at the moment, or your pickups, what you've been buying. Something for everyone on there. If you like retro games, our other show Flashback comes out every Tuesday. We've done different eras from 1993 right up to the mid 2000s. Have a listen to that. Very similar premise to this show, but it's just that nostalgia trip with a bit of what we would have been playing back in the day. Bit of news articles, all genuine news articles from the day, from original magazines and journalists, and also what we've been hoping to play, and a bit of Stingray's boot in there, which is, it's all a good bit of fun. If you want to, jump on there, give us a sub, give us a like, give us a review. That's Flashback. That's on everything. And also, if you want to check out our new website, unofficialcontrollerpodcast.com, jump on there. Again, thanks to Captain Scarlet for all he's done on that. Lovely slick. It's got a mobile version as well. It's sometimes hard to search for, so you have to type in unofficialcontrollerpodcast.com, but then you'll come up on that, will come straight onto the page. But yeah, great website, and we're, like I say, we're adding to it as we go, so we'll get Seb's links and bits and pieces. So don't forget to check out Seb single player experience. Jump on there with him, and he has some great stuff on there, reviews and bits and pieces, and he's also the king of indies. So if you like your indie games, that's the guy you need to speak to and check out. I think I've covered all the housekeeping there.
Can I do one more quick extra bit of housekeeping? I just want to give a shout out just to our new Discord, because we did have 3 join the last couple of weeks. So big shout out to Super VTech. A big thank you and a big shout out and thank you to BoatGoat, and also to DJ Cat 64. And
Fantastic.
Just a reminder, if you could leave a review on whatever platform of choice you're listening to this on, 5-star review will help massively. So thank you so much for joining the team, and we look forward to having some chats with you in the future.
Brilliant. And also, I forgot the main one, haven't I? Marathon Gaming, check him out on YouTube. Scotty boy here. Fantastic. I mean, Scott's a collector. Scott's a big Switch player. Arcade lover, anything like that. So check his show out. Go over to YouTube, give him a sub, give him a like, and you won't be disappointed, because he does some great stuff. Anything from, latest Switch game, PS5, all the way down to his Game Gear collecting, which you're going for a full set, aren't you, Scott? I believe.
Yeah, it's been a bit taken over by modern. I mean, like I say, it's been a lot of PS5 this year and Switch 2, but
you've got an awesome collection anyway.
Oh yeah, the retro's still there, and I'll be adding to it. I'm sure in Bristol at the gaming market.
Brilliant, fantastic. So yeah, don't forget that. If you want to see more of what I do, I'm Retro Gamer Thomas on Instagram. Don't forget Marathon Gaming on YouTube. Don't forget Single Player Experience with Seb, YouTube, and everywhere Seb is, especially his website. And I think that just leaves me to say there's nothing wrong with being given the unofficial controller. That's what you do.
What you do with it that counts.
Exactly. See you later, guys.
Gonna bounce. Bye.